The hospital room smelled of antiseptic and despair, a sterile prison where the beep of monitors mocked my fading pulse. I lay there, tubes snaking from my arm, my chest tight from the accident that had shattered my leg and my sense of invincibility. But it wasn't the pain keeping me awake tonight. It was the text I'd glimpsed on my phone, half dead in my hand, before the nurse snatched it away. Miss you already. Come home soon. From Sarah. My Sarah. Except it wasn't meant for me. The name above it, Jake, burned into my retina like a brand. I stared at the ceiling, its cracked tiles a map of my fracturing world. Sarah hadn't visited in 3 days. She'd said work was hectic, her voice thin over the phone, promising she'd come tomorrow. Always tomorrow. I'd believed her because I wanted to, because 9 years of marriage made you blind to the cracks. But that text, that single line, was a splinter in my mind, sharp and unyielding. I couldn't unsee it. Jake. Her coworker. The one she'd laughed about, called harmless, with his easy smile and late-night project sessions. My stomach churned, not from the morphine but from the dread pooling like oil in my gut. The next morning, I convinced the nurse to let me keep my phone. Just to check on my wife, I said, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. She relented, her pitying eyes lingering too long. I waited until she left, then opened Sarah's messages. Nothing new. Just that one text, glowing like a warning flare. I scrolled up, searching for context, but found only mundane exchanges about groceries and my recovery. Too mundane. Too clean. Like someone had swept the dirt under the rug. I called her. The line rang 4 times before her voicemail kicked in. Her voice bright and rehearsed. Hey, it's Sarah. Leave a message. I didn't. Instead, I texted. How's work? Coming by today? No reply. Hours passed. The hospitals hum a relentless drone. By evening, I couldn't stand it. I called my brother, Tom, who lived a block from our house. Can you swing by? Check on Sarah? She's not answering. Tom hesitated. She's probably just busy, Matt. You know how she gets. But his tone was off, like he was holding something back. I pushed, my voice sharper than I meant. Just do it, okay? Please. He agreed reluctantly, and I waited, the phone a lifeline in my clammy grip. When Tom called back, his voice was low, careful. She's fine, Matt. At home. But there's a car in the driveway. Not hers. My heart stuttered. What kind? Whose? I asked, though I already knew. Tom described it, a black Jeep just like Jake's. Could be anyone's, he said, but the lie hung heavy between us. I asked him to knock to see her. He didn't want to, said it felt wrong, but I begged until he gave in. Minutes later he texted, she's okay. Said she's tired, didn't want to talk long. Jake's there. Said he's helping with some work thing. Helping. At 9 p.m. on a Thursday. I pictured her opening the door, her hair loose, her smile too quick. I pictured Jake behind her, casual, like he belonged in my house. My home. The one we'd painted together, laughing over spilled cans and bad brushstrokes. The one where we'd planned our future, whispered dreams in the dark. My leg throbbed, but it was nothing compared to the ache in my chest. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed proof, something undeniable, because doubt was a crueler enemy than betrayal. I spent the next day piecing together fragments. I checked our shared bank account. Charges for coffee shops I'd never been to, a hotel I didn't recognize. Small, careless clues, like breadcrumbs she hadn't bothered to sweep away. I called our neighbor, Mrs. Carver, who loved to gossip. Oh, Matt, I didn't want to worry you, she said, her voice dripping with false concern. But I've seen a man around lately. Young, handsome. Thought he was a friend, maybe? Friend. The word tasted like ash. I thanked her, hung up, and stared at the hospital wall. Its peeling paint a mirror of my unraveling trust. Sarah finally visited that afternoon, her perfume sharp, her eyes avoiding mine. Sorry I've been MIA, she said, fussing with my blanket. Work's been insane. Her hands trembled slightly, and I wanted to grab them, demand answers, but I didn't. I watched her instead, searching for the woman I'd married. She talked about nothing, weather, hospital food, her words a flimsy shield. I nodded, smiled, played along, but inside I was screaming. That night I couldn't sleep. The hospital was too quiet, the silence amplifying every doubt. I remembered the little things, the late nights she'd blamed on deadlines, the way her phone was always face down now, the sudden distance in her touch. Each memory was a needle, pricking deeper. I called Tom again. "I need you to go back," I said. "Look closer. Please." He argued, said I was spiraling, but I didn't care. I needed to know. He went. An hour later he called, his voice tight. "Matt, your stuff's gone." I didn't understand. "What do you mean gone?" He described it. My clothes, my books, my old guitar, all piled in the garage like trash. Replaced by Jake's things. His shoes by the door, his jacket on the couch. My house, my life, erased while I lay broken in a hospital bed. "She said you agreed to it," Tom added, his words a punch to the gut. "Said you were separating." Separating. The word was a blade, slicing through 9 years of promises. I hadn't agreed to anything. I called Sarah, my hands shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. She answered this time, her voice soft, guilty. "Matt, what's wrong?" I didn't ease into it. "Why's my stuff in the garage? Why's Jake living in our house?" Silence. Then a sob, small and sharp. "I didn't mean for you to find out like this," she whispered. She confessed in fragments, her voice breaking. She'd been unhappy for months, felt trapped. Jake was there, listening when I wasn't. It started with talks, then more. "She didn't want to hurt me," she said, "but she couldn't stay." "I thought you'd understand," she finished, as if I'd ever agreed to being replaced. I wanted to scream, to curse her, but all I could say was, "You threw out my life." She cried harder, but I hung up, her sobs echoing in my skull. The next day, I checked out against medical advice, my legs screaming with every step. Tom drove me home, not to the house, but to his place. I couldn't face it yet, couldn't see Jake's things where mine should be. But I went back eventually, alone at dusk. The house smelled different, like someone else's life. My books were gone, my photos missing. In our bedroom, Jake's clothes hung in my closet. On the nightstand, a photo of them, laughing, somewhere I'd never been. I stood there, heart pounding, until I heard the door open. Sarah's voice, then Jake's, low and intimate. They froze when they saw me. Sarah's face crumpled, guilt and fear in her eyes. Jake stepped forward, hands up, like I was dangerous. "Matt, let's talk," he said, his voice calm, patronizing. I didn't want to talk. I wanted to break something, to scream until the world made sense again. But I just stood there, staring at the strangers in my home. Then Sarah spoke, her voice barely a whisper. "I'm pregnant." The words hit like a sledgehammer, shattering what little hope I'd clung to. She didn't say it was his, didn't need to. The truth was in her eyes, in the way Jake's hand hovered near her. I turned and walked out, the door slamming behind me, the sound final, like the end of everything. I drove to the hospital, not because I needed it, but because it was the only place I could breathe. In the parking lot, I sat in Tom's car, staring at the sky, the stars blurred by tears. I'd loved her with everything I had, and she'd rebuilt her life without me. The betrayal wasn't just Jake, wasn't just the lies. It was the future she'd stolen, the one I'd never get back. And as the night closed in, I realized the worst part. I still loved her, even now, and that hurt more than anything.